Hi, I'm Robert, the G-Man.
And I'm John, Marvelous Comics. And we're... And we're the GenerationX Men. You cut me off.
Sorry. Didn't mean to. You want to repeat it? Repeat it.
We're good.
You're good.
Yeah, the
Sorry,
moment's
man.
gone.
We'll get it one day. Hey, it's okay. That makes it unique every time we do it. How you doing, brother?
Good. How you been?
Good. All right. So you ready to start our show?
I'm ready. Let's do this.
This is going to be really fun. I think it's going to be excellent. All right. So here we go. So nobody's in the chat yet. So we're like, there's this dead air right now.
I put some out there, so we're.
So I put so did I, and I put it to like a minute and a half. That music intro I thought was perfect for this. But I've just been waiting for people to show up. It's always like this during the afternoon on Sunday. It'll recast because I plan on redoing this one again and playing it on Father's Day, so people can see it again.
We'll have somebody in here shortly. So
yeah, usually there's Firehawk. Hey, buddy, what's up?
Good to have you in here, bud.
Cool. All right.
They'll start filtering in now.
Yeah. What's that? Yeah, there's Campbell. Campbell's in. Yay, what's up, buddy? All right. Let's get started. Boom.
All right.
They're here.
We're on a mission from God.
Nothing's gonna ever keep your cat. Excellent invention. Private Hall, what are you trying to do to my beloved car? Inconceivable! Here's Johnny. You know what old Jack Burton always says?
The Eiffel Tower still stands. Take us there.
Game over, man. Game over.
A country, once a global juggernaut and a forerunner in leadership, innovation, and diplomacy. Now, fallen from grace, on the brink of civil unrest, and run by Darvey Plunk. No one quite knows how this man rose to the nation's highest seat of power, becoming the supreme leader of the provincial territories of Allegra. All that really seems to matter is that he's here now, and truth be told, he may be more important to the preservation of our world than anyone could have ever predicted or wanted. So everyone better buckle up.
We can't wait to show you this grand... I'm just gonna start again.
Yeah.
Okay. The book we're presenting to you has been a long time in the works. We can't wait to show you this grand misadventure that we've come up with, that we've poured our heart and souls into over the past year and a half. I'm so proud of the book that we put together. From the time when it was only a set of abstract ideas floating around my discombobulated head, it has since become something so much greater and wackier than anything I've ever anticipated it could be. So much of that is due to the immaculate skill and effort that Connor has put in, who has not only created some of the best artwork I've ever seen in any corner of comics, but he's also created some unbelievable complimentary pieces that you can only purchase through this limited time Kickstarter campaign. I can't wait to show you what we have in store.
Hey, thanks, Mike. Considering the monstrous child we've created, that is Darvey Plunk, it's a very strange feeling to be as proud of it as we are. It's inspired by everything from The Naked Gun to Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy to Blade Runner and the Fifth Element. We unfortunately have no real answers to the world's problems. It's not a psychological character study, and honestly, you probably won't be any smarter for reading it. However, I do think you'll laugh, you'll probably cringe, you might even scoff a bit if that's your thing, but if we do our job right, you'll be entertained and relish in the absurdity with us.
Hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Awesome.
That's pretty sweet.
Damn, good. I'm glad. There's my artistry. How you guys
Fantastic.
All right,
Good.
Dan, welcome. So,
Thank you.
all right, so Darvey Plunk.
Yes.
That is,
Darvey Plunk.
Mike, that's your creation? That's your brainchild?
It's my rejected brainchild that is finding its way to the light. Thanks to Connor. I came up with this idea a couple of years back, and it's kind of been, basking in, boiling and brewing. And I connected with Connor probably about a year and a half ago now, and we've been churning away on this book, and we're at a place where we have a good portion of it done, and we've got a Kickstarter up and running to get the rest of this baby made.
All those links down are down and below in the descriptions. Everybody can find you. Boom, just like that. Even a little description about yourselves real quick is down there as well. So everybody in the seasons and the checks and the rewind, please check them out. But continue, gentlemen. Sorry.
Yeah, so it's a pretty wacky book we've come up with. We've gotten a lot of mixed kind of messages when people take a look at it. Some people love it immediately, they get it. Some people are a little rankled by it. Some people hate it, think we're just we're stirring the pot like little shits that we are. But, it's just supposed to be a fun book, and there's pieces to take away from it, and we don't want it just to be bubblegum. There is some stuff that you can reflect upon a bit, but there's a lot more to it than the images we've put out there so far, and it takes a lot of turns into some pretty wild sci-fi kind of adventure stuff later on.
Sure.
But it's just it's a fun satire at the end of the day that real people will just get a kick out of, and at the very least you don't have to read my stupid words, and you can just enjoy Connor's art if you really want to.
Well, I like your art, Connor. I like the art style.
Thank you.
I went through it. I thought it was great.
It is very original art style.
Yes.
So,
Yes,
thank you.
and that's what I was asking you about a little earlier before. So, where do you pull your inspiration for your original kind of art style? Because I do think it is. I've not seen another style like yours.
I've kind of always been weird a little bit. I think it's because I don't know, I'm inspired by everything, and I can't draw the way I want to draw. Everyone finally hits the wall of where they actually have to draw. I don't know. I've thought about it a lot. I think I've been very conscious aware of trying to create my own visual identity in this industry, because it seems to be the only way to have any kind of security, is to be the only one who does what you do. But it kind of formed because I bounce between painting and drawing so much. I've never really honed an inking style, I don't know, until I met Zach Howard, and he started teaching me how he does it. And he almost uses ink like paint, and so it kind of helped to make sense. And then I've always just loved the art and the world building that could just pull you into it. I always just wanted to exist. in World. So I got obsessed with I almost like drawing the backgrounds more than I enjoy the characters sometimes.
And your titling for it, which I actually I see that as well, the Doctor Strange love for sure. Yeah,
Definitely going
see
for
it
it.
totally. I can see it. It's that's cool.
The cool thing with Connor's art though is that it's got a cartoony feel to it, where it's you can tell that it's a bit of a comedy, but he puts so much effort into like you said the backgrounds where you can flip back on pages and see little Easter eggs that he fills with every page, and some of the things we were talking about before, some of the details with his art, I never even picked up on it, and he tells me about it, and then you see it, and you get a whole nother level out of the art. It's yeah, there's some guys that are detail oriented like that, but Connor is detail, but also really funny with the stuff he throws in there that you actually have to kind of focus in on and not just look at read through the story to pick up on.
And that's been great about working with Mike, is because I'm a huge fan of doing background storytelling. So it's because I think I had a professor in college who talked about comics about how if the words in the pictures are saying the same thing, you're doing something wrong. So I like having, the main narrative, but then if you want to watch, there's something going on in the background the whole time that might add to the story. I use it a lot to add little extra elements to the people that live in this world. In the future, we're going to have so much fun with it because we get to create a whole new, we get to create our dystopia, and I can't wait to do that. So
Right.
Yeah.
It's going to be so much.
I think we have the page out there, the page where Darvey's at the rally with all of his fans, and if you just look in the background there, there's probably 20 different signs, each with its own
I was
joke.
looking at that.
There's people in costumes and stuff. You can just bask in the art, on the sill, in the foreground. There's just an egg. There's a bird's nest with an egg that I never even saw till weeks after I received that page. It just goes on and on. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's 3 eggs and a couple piles of bird crap.
Yeah. Just
that it needed it. I don't like it needed it.
Yeah.
That's just I like when worlds. We're both huge fans of Star Wars. I think we can all say that. But I like how lived in those worlds feel, and that's kind of what I try to do with the art. Is yeah, this is a fun story, but also this world exists without these characters.
Right. It's an immense looking world. So there's a lot of stuff going on, and you do a good job of portraying that this is a huge thing that this guy is in charge.
For sure.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to try for it.
Yeah. But yeah,
he really doesn't. It's not that he necessarily doesn't care he's in charge. Maybe that's it. But he's very
ignorance of responsibility.
That could he's just kind of even his cuticles are all gnarly looking. So there's a lot of details that you put into these guys.
They
all that's a carryover too from my mentor Zach Howard. He does that kind of stuff where God, there's a scene in I think Cape Fallen where the main character's kicking the door and he draws the hinge bending and the nails popping out. So I've been in good company when it comes to this kind of storytelling.
All right, Mike, question, and you might get asked this, or I'm going to ask it.
So the big one.
It seems like a political one because people are going to see that. Why this particular genre right out of the gate?
I just have to pull up my script that my PR team has told me to read out for when I get this question, just to make sure I'm joking. This concept came to me a couple years back. A certain someone was still in power at the time.
Yep.
And I should have probably taken note of what was going on that day, but I was definitely just watching the news, and it was one of those days where it's kind of just unbelievable seeing what was happening on the news and being this is someone who's running one of the most powerful, important countries in the entire world, and I feel I could do a better job. And I kind of took that idea of that person and kind of characterized him a bit. And then being a giant nerd that I am, my imagination started floating away and being I like sci-fi stories, I like dystopian stuff, and I'm what if this guy was the star of a Flash Gordon comic almost? What would happen with that? You know, this guy is literally pulled into like a new world and is like tasked with saving the human race. So I kind of like, that was like the basis for the story. And, you know, just having the character there is like a political thing in and of itself, but it was meant to be just like more of like an outrageous story. Like, let's pull this guy into like a sci-fi, like time warp like blender. And it kind of just like percolated from there. And like the story kind of like over time, like created itself around that. And, you know, that was the basis for it. I didn't want to like, you know, get sides like fighting with one another. I just kind of wanted to like not like Black Mirror and like just turn the lens on us like just minutely while just like writing up like a crazy ass story.
Okay, cool.
So how many? So this is the first story. How many stories are there of Darvey Plunk?
So the Kickstarter we have running is the collected edition of the first 4 issues.
Okay.
Together. So it's essentially like volume 1 of the story. We have future volumes in mind that we're kind of loosely working on, but this is like the first volume that collects 4 issues.
Okay. And they're each individual books, or is it one?
The Kickstarter you'll get collected. Where
okay. All right, so it's like a trade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, yep.
So
yes, you're essentially getting the graphic novel version. It'll still have the page breaks for the issues. You'll still recognize it, but you're getting all of them at once.
Okay. All right. So this is, you know, everything that's on your Kickstarter so far. So you're a little over, what did you say, about 60, 65% there?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Their goal so far pledged, was it your $19,000 goal? What you got?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
11 days ago. You got 11 days to go. So I'm going to recast this show again next week for Father's Day. So I think it'd be funny.
Yeah, that would be fun.
So we'll rewind. I'll have this on the rewind, this same show, and we'll do it again.
So what's your different tiers that you have? Because you know, all the Kickstarters have a different tier. So let's kind of get down to those and let's see what.
You believe in $10? Here we go. Let's go down to the ones here. $25.
Yes, so the digital copy is just 8. So 8's the entry if you just want a PDF of it.
Okay.
Yes. Please.
And then and then 25 or more gets you the base book. And then whatever stretch goals we meet that you'll get because of a physical book.
So when it says a
40,
signed copy, is that signed by both of you or signed by? Okay.
Signed by both of us.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and then our special case, we got Zach Howard to do a variant cover for us, which I cannot wait to see.
Yeah, Claire got one for hers, which was Mother.
Yeah.
Mother
and he crushed it. Yeah, because he's owed me a favor for a minute. So I helped him with I got to help him. I got to assist on that Hellboy story he did, the Return of Effie Kolb. And that was phenomenal to see. I don't know if you guys read that. It was just a 2-issue run.
No, I have not read it.
So great. They continue the story that Mike Mignola did with why am I blanking on his name? Corbin.
Richard
Corbin. Yeah. Because I had to go study how Richard Corbin drew the mansion to rebuild it. It was this whole fun job.
Very cool.
I just can't wait to see Zach's cover because he's kind of got like a gritty style to it. Whereas, you know, how that plays into this kind of like comedy, it's going to be pretty cool to see. You know.
Yeah, one of the guys in the chat had a question about, are you selling pages from the book? And yeah, that was one of your tiers. It was a pick a page, correct?
Yep, pick a page.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, pick a page. There will be 50 available.
First come, first serve on. You pick it first.
Yeah.
You get the page.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been trying to hype up this tier because I'm like, these pages are going to be worth something. Not only does it like look amazing in your page, your place with like the detail, but like, you know, I want people to grab all these pages because I have one up in my place and it just looks unreal.
I've worked in an art supply store for the last 7 years, so I'm kind of obsessed with things being nice. So they are nicer. I ink all the way to the edge.
Wow.
Oh yeah, here I'll show you guys one. Wait, where's my camera?
Yeah, here we go. This is a page I don't think people have seen yet.
Nice.
Yeah.
Notice no pupils.
No pupils. Only one. Yeah, these were some fun reference photos to take.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, so there are pages available. There's also currently we only have one double page spread, but it's going to be a doozy. I know we'll probably have more, but we're only going to have this one to be available.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And I
I
plan
was
on
looking at
going-
the script yesterday. We'll have more than one double page spread.
I'm sure we will. Yeah. For now, we have this one thumbnailed out, and it's basically I'm going full Daniel Warren Johnson on it. It's going to be 5-point perspective. It's going to be a beast. It's going to be.
Okay, what are your future plans? You got, since this is your first time like out of the gate doing this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kickstarter. Yeah.
Very cool. Very, very cool. So what is your future plans? Do you have a goal set in mind that what's something you guys want to do together?
Well, I'm going to try to lock down Connor for the next 10 years because people are going to start. Yeah.
Next, I mean, I just like crafting stories. I mean, like what we were talking about earlier. Not that I would ever turn down a Spider-Man job, but
Sure.
I like creating the world. I like not having the rules already established. So I'm always
Sure.
down to do more of that. But with Darvey specifically, I mean, we've got plans we'll shop at the publishers. We'll do the rigmarole that everyone does.
Sure.
We've already got some eyes on it. We've heard some pretty good feedback. It's just, money's tight for everyone.
Absolutely. No,
Right.
we know.
But I don't know. I think what's that?
No.
Honestly, if people like it, we do have more stories ready to go for Darvey. This hopefully won't be a one and done. So
Yeah.
the world will continue to expand, and we got some stuff plotted out, which I think will get even crazier and also
Sure.
more fulfilling.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, we had a bunch of questions. Where did they go?
Very good. This book creates a lot of awkward pauses.
Yeah, because I'm like, all right, did we already ask that this time, or was that in the pre-show? I don't remember.
How do you know who that?
We got
How do
the
you
big
know that,
question.
Campbell? You don't know that's who that is. That's Darvey. That's all we know. How do you? How can you?
What
How
are
can
you talking about?
We did actually talk a little bit about that, Campbell, and Uncle Joe is not safe. So nobody's safe.
I made aesthetic choices of what was the funnest, most fun to draw, but we're coming for everybody.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Because honestly,
Yeah,
like, it was.
I think if you even the playing field out, you're going to poking fun at everything is a lot more fun than poking fun at one. So
Yeah.
That's what we're trying to do. Yeah.
That's
It's just his face, like it's weird. Like as an artist, it was gross. I almost went through this weird like relationship with myself because that face is so gross to draw. But I started to love drawing it as I kept going. So I have a really complicated relationship with this character.
the character you love to hate.
Yeah, I created
Or
him.
hate
He's
to
like,
love,
Mike created him, and I gave him form, and now it's just this. We have this gross child together.
Right.
Okay, we talked about a little bit before. Are you guys comic book collectors? I'm sure people might want to know that. Do you guys collect books? What do you like to read? New, modern, DC, independents?
I don't do the whole CGC thing. I don't kind of believe in that. That's a little weird.
No, it's okay.
I mean,
reading. Yeah.
I love independence. Anything weird, spooky, as quirky world building, like pretty much anything Rick Remender's ever written, I will buy.
Okay.
A lot of those guys, Cullen Bunn, spooky.
Cullen Bunn's excellent. Like Cullen
and like a lot of like artistically powerful ones, like Black Sad and gosh, I've got all the classics.
There's a new one right now.
Like to go back.
Step by Bloody Step.
Fantastic! Fantastic!
It's amazing art.
Matthias Bergara makes me so mad sometimes because oh god, he's so good.
A little bit jealousy there. A little bit.
He makes it look easy. He makes it look so easy.
Well, I have that Step by Bloody Step, the book, the comic, and the art was beautiful, but there was like, I'm an old guy, so I'm used to like reading books. I want more story in it. There wasn't a lot of writing in it. Very little.
I love that.
Yeah.
Especially
G.I. Joe silent issue back in the 80s. That was.
Did you guys read Tale of Sand?
I enjoyed it. I still enjoyed it. But I felt like I was in a way. It reminded me similar in like kind of like a manga.
Yeah.
Very similar.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like manga a lot for that. I like because sometimes American comics move too fast. I like how
Yeah,
they
they do.
they slow down, show you the panels in between.
But the manga is
I like
kind of
my
cool the way it tells a story because they do it without words some half the time.
Mhm.
Some of them are just,
Yeah.
and you can actually get the picture of what's going on. Find that interesting.
You can see some manga like influences on your art too, Connor. Like some of like the expressions, you know, like the kind
I
of
noticed. I was noticing.
hyper realized kind of
Yeah,
expressions on faces.
I come from academic, kind of a little bit of academic training artistically. I went to art school and all that. So I've been on a journey of trying to get better at cartooning, and manga has been a huge help with me, trying to get more energy because I'm really good at static imagery, but getting that energy
Sure.
into it, I've been working on.
Yeah. Yeah, but I guess to go back to your question, I read like anything.
Yeah.
I grew up on Marvel and DC. Like what got me into comics originally was like just classic Spider-Man and Batman comics, and then from there you kind of like just know more names of the industry and expand a bit. And these days I don't read that much of like the major two. I was
Sure.
saying earlier, I like Donny Cates. I like his Thor and Hulk run that's going on right now.
Mhm.
But I do a lot of indie. I do a lot of image, and a lot of it's just like following writers that like Rick Remender's like obviously classic.
So you
Brian
guys
Lee
married? You guys married? Got girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever?
Girlfriend.
girlfriend. Yeah.
Okay. What do they think about
Yeah.
your whole thing of what you're doing? Just out of curiosity, because we're married. I'm married. My woman,
Yeah.
she deals with all my crazy hobbies. Just just question. What did your ladies think of what you guys do?
She's
Unfortunately. Oh, go for it.
You go, Connor.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Unfortunately, so my girlfriend is also an artist. She's more of a ceramicist, but so she gets the artistic pursuit.
Okay.
The irony comes in because she's from Virginia and her family's a little conservative compared. I'm from Colorado. We're a little bit more liberal. So there is a fun thing where we kind of recognize that there's going to be some conversations
Sure.
that might happen with me in the future.
Sure.
But about who I'm making fun of and why.
Right.
But no, they're incredibly supportive. I mean, I also have the benefit of,
That's good. It
I
always
have all
helps
these
too.
pages.
Mm-hmm.
That's
And
the
you,
first
Mike?
I've heard that. It makes me kind of want to write something even more controversial just to put like Connor in hot water.
So Connor, you can always say, "Look, I'm not the writer.
Yeah.
I'm paid to draw.
I'm just the artist."
So,
yeah. I mean, the truth is Mike has allowed me to have tremendous impact on the script, but also I'm just the writer, or I'm just the artist. I didn't do it. It's not my fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Mix in Carter.
I guess
Yeah.
I guess second billing. Yeah, you can't blame me.
Yeah, my girlfriend supports it fully. Like she supports me writing and all that. The kind of like more peripheral things that she takes issue with are like my comic book collecting and like all my like nerddom that like is starting to like fill out into the house a bit. Which like it's honestly comic stacks are just forming like all around where I don't have a storage anymore. Like my little like action figures and stuff. That's more the issue than like the actual writing and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I got a few of my action figures.
John, continue, please. I have to go shut my little dog out.
Well, okay. So Connor, when we were talking ahead of time, you said one of your favorite characters was Hellboy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, which you actually, and then I noticed in the intro that little fist was back behind you in the intro, and I was like, oh yeah, there's your Hellboy fist. So, did you get into Hellboy in the 90s or?
So I actually never read comics until I was in college. I grew up in a tiny mountain town, so it was all skiing and whatever. But I always loved the characters of cartoons and the escapism of those in video games. Well, it wasn't until I pursued art school and I had a teacher who was a comic book artist. So I was like, I'm going to try drawing a comic. I like this. And I just fell in love with it. And then he was like, oh, you kind of draw like Mike Mignola. And then I went, who's that?
Okay.
And then so I went and bought volume 1 and it just, everything changed. I was like, this is what I want to do. This storytelling, the world he could create, the way that like, it was kind of nice going to art school, such a disadvantage of not knowing anything because I didn't have any preconceived notions of how to do anything.
Right.
But yeah, when I discovered the storytelling you could get away with in comic books, that was what I wanted to do.
So art school, was that for painting or what was your inspiration to go to art school?
I didn't know what else to do with my life, and I
Oh, okay.
had supportive
All right.
parents.
So,
So I went for graphic design. Realized I hated that.
right.
And then switched. I like drawing, so I switched over to illustration. I was an illustration major. I thought I wanted to be a children's book artist, like everyone does. And then realized I was too weird for that, and decided comics was where it was at. Because I've always lived in my head. I've always had this imagination where it's just reality was dumb. I want things that fly and explode.
All right. So, Connor, is this your first book?
This is my first major book. This will be the first thing I've done that's over like a one shot. I've done a bunch of one shots, indie zines, assistant work, pinups.
Which one shots have you done?
All self-published. So I have one called Radix Demons. It's like a little fantasy romp. I think it's actually one of our stretch goals if we get there. And then I've got me and my buddies used to do a anthology we called the Hollow Zine. We would put it out we only did it twice. We did it 2 years. It was a Halloween anthology.
Okay.
Yeah, but I need to work on reprinting those because I don't know if you can find them anywhere.
Okay.
But so this basically is my debut.
Yeah.
Okay.
In Black Hammer, Connor.
Oh yeah, I did a pinup for Black Hammer. Met Jeff Lemire. That was fantastic.
You did something on Black Hammer, really?
Yeah, just a pinup. So I met Jeff Lemire at a comic convention here, and this is how I'll tell the story too, because this is how I used to get lucky. This man came up to my table and was going through my stuff going on, and I was like, "Oh, like, hi, how's it going? You a comic book person?" He's like, "Oh yeah, I do comics." I'm like, "Oh, cool, what do you do?" He's like, "I read comics." I was like, "Oh, awesome." He's like, "Yeah, I'm Jeff Lemire," and I just went, I was like, "Oh my god, I know who you are," because I didn't recognize it. I have no idea what he looked like. I just freaked out because so he was actually the first person to ever buy one of my original pages.
Nice.
Oh, very cool.
That's and then he was doing this thing with Black Hammer Age of Doom where he was finding young artists and putting them in the featured section at the end of the book, and I got to do a pinup for number 3.
Wow. Okay. Cool.
Which was really cool. Yeah, it was super fun. I ripped off Robert McGinnis for that one. That was pretty
You said Black Hammer issue 3?
Yeah, Black Hammer Age of Doom number 3.
And Mike, this is your first dabble, first toe in the water.
Yeah, it's definitely first one in comics. I've been writing for a long time. I have some like short stories out there, nothing like officially published, but you can find some stuff on like my website. But this is the first like that I've kind of taken to fruition. Like I went to film school as well, so I have a lot of like a couple of short films out there as well that I wrote. But this is the one that I've definitely put like the most legwork into, that I've really trying to get the best thing we can do out of it.
Okay.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and in addition to like kind of the tie-in with Zach is like this will be. I mean, Claire has done way more work than I have, but that's kind of what Zach and I decided. It was time for me to be the baby bird and draw my own book.
Sure, of course, absolutely.
So I got his seal. I got his seal of approval, and I was like, I feel ready. Let's do this.
So, how did you two meet or hook up? Or
that's a great question. From that, it was Zach that connected us. When I was like working on this book, I spent so much time like looking through like every, like I don't even know what you call it, every avenue available for like an artist for this book, and really like I kind of had an idea for the style I wanted, and I just couldn't find it anywhere. And I happened to just like come across like Zach's contact info, and he was like great enough to actually respond to me, which that's one of the biggest things. Like you put yourself out there, and most of the time no one responds back. But Zach was good enough to actually reply back to my email and was like, I have the perfect guy for you, and connected me to Connor.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it was at that time Zach was trying to help me get a job to launch, and it was I had basically done an audition for a comic that, like, I'm sure you guys are familiar with the pipeline of screenplays turned into comics from Hollywood. And it was kind of one of those where it was just like I was just going to adapt a screenplay into a comic for cheaper.
Okay.
And like that was fun because it might have had ties to Hollywood, but it would have been paying nothing, and they just wanted me to imitate.
You were basically going to do like the Conqueror Worm.
Yeah.
Except
I mean, and I'm not saying anything bad about Claire, because I love her work and I love everything she does. But, that was taken something that was already done and making it into comic form, which looked awesome.
Yeah. Which would have been fun, but then again, I am arrogant and I need my own identity. So then I got this script, and it was creative freedom, and Mike and I chatted, and I was like, oh, hands down, this is the thing I want to draw, because the way that Mike wrote the script, I knew where his jokes were heading, and I could just add these extra visual punchlines, and it's so much fun.
So, because and I want to go back and clarify, because the Conqueror Worm was like her first thing that she broke out.
I have it actually over here. Yeah.
So
I'm not too familiar. Yeah.
Yeah. That was her, and I believe you have it too, G.
Yeah, it's
So,
Sorry.
and I know it's a little off topic, but you're friends with Clara, correct?
Yeah. Again, through Zach, we've
through Zach. Did you guys get to read Mother 47?
Yeah, did you?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Yeah. I backed it. I got a page of pencil.
So good.
So
I was joking
what
with
did
Clara.
you guys think on that? Let me get your opinion on Mother 47.
I want to know. I want to know the same thing.
I was very impressed
Total
with
freeze.
the bait and switch. Oh, I know, right?
Say it again, Connor.
The bait and switch she did, because it was like she messes with your understanding of how she draws. It's this fun thing she does where the character has such weird proportions. You're sitting there wondering, you're like, I know this girl knows how to draw.
Yep.
And then when you get the reveal of why everything looks weird, you're like, oh, nicely played. Nicely played.
Yeah.
No,
I totally agree. It's like we were talking about this earlier. Like I love stories that like jump genres, where that one like kind of starts out as like a kind of, you think like, oh, it's like an espionage, World War II story, and then it turns into like a completely like, more of like a horror, and I'm like I love this. Like it's weird and it's kind of twisted, and I didn't expect that, but it like works perfectly too. And she even has like a nice blurb at the end like that explains her like thinking how she came up with it. I'm like, like you clearly like get the craft, and like this was like kudos, like this is awesome. Like that's on top of like amazing art too.
Yeah,
so
we both backed that one as well, and we had a lot of people that are in the chat right now that that one and all got their copies in. And I've not heard anybody who has been like, I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I also feel, that's kind of the beauty of comics too, is like, this is not Clara's comic is amazing, but like regardless of the quality of a comic book, whoever made it worked their ass off on it.
Oh yeah,
every single time.
Oh yeah, big time.
She did. She showed it the whole
time. She was showing us the work.
She worked. Yeah. Well, she worked harder than I would. Like, she's got all this. Like, I kind of skipped some steps. She's got so many steps that she follows to keep her process in. Where I'm like, I wouldn't have done half of that. So much easier than she is. I'm designing stuff on the page. Like,
it's amazing too, because it's very like art heavy, but like the writing is great too. Like you said, Connor. Like when you're looking at first, you're like, something's off. Like the way this guy moves and this and that. It's like something seems kind of strange, but like it's in front of you the whole time, and it does pay off. There's a reason for all of it that just like springs to life like afterwards, and you're like, oh, it's like that's awesome.
Nice,
right?
Nice. Yeah. And to a certain degree, that's what we're trying to do, I guess, too. Is nicely done. Yeah.
And that's kind of like the aha moment you want to get from somebody going, oh yeah,
surprise.
Yeah, I got you. And getting someone on your book, once they can get past the this guy looks like this guy, and I don't know how they're going to do that. Once you get into the last panel you guys were telling us about, where the real story begins.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where it's going to begin, and that can be okay, I see where this is going. This is going to be the ride. This is just waiting in the queue.
Yeah.
It's like it's been like a dance, like trying to like get that message out there, being like, this isn't what you think it is. Like it's something more than that, and it's something different than what you think it's going to be. We're not trying to like start fires. Like this is just like our starting point, and like we very quickly like pull it into something else. And it's something we're trying to like push. And like in the Kickstarter, we try to talk about that a bit, but it's a tough balancing game. And this is our first book, and maybe we took a big chunk out of this more than we like thought we would. But
you'll definitely find out, because I'm sure people write to you or email you or Instagram you. They're gonna find out. You'll find out all out.
Well, and I think about this a lot too. Is that like you guys are painfully aware that like people aren't going to probably pick this book. Like a lot of people aren't going to pick this book up until they find it as a trade on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And so like the book's going to exist way past the current climate we're making it in.
Of course.
And so I think like, I don't know, even though who knows, we might we might get slapped in the face with like, you guys were doing the wrong, like this was the wrong book. But I think it'll find its people, because I think I said, I don't know if I said this before we were live, but like there has to be other ways to attack this narrative of what the hell's happening and where like and it's just everyone's just so angry and tired, and it's just like if we can get people to talk about it and maybe laugh about it, that's awesome, because then we're actually talking about it again, not just yelling at each other. Like there has to be a way to be more nuanced, to poke fun, to
be able to communicate.
Yeah.
Well, not make these characters so grandiose, so untouchable. I don't know. That's how I rationalize it.
One thing that's important to me too is like the book has humanity too. Like there's one thing we were talking about Hellboy. Like he goes on these like there's this crazy mythology and he goes on these adventures, but the characters actually grow too, and they have like moments of reflection, and they actually like there's character development across the stories. And here, like again, like you might not think it knowing like this premise and like that we're calling like a time travel adventure, but there's actually like humanity. There's moments of reflection, and the characters change like from beginning to end. And again,
you might actually feel bad for him.
Yeah. So again, like that has nothing to do with politics. That's just, creating a character that might be inspired by something, but we made it into like something that stands on its own, that I think was really important from like the get-go. And it's not just zaniness too. It's like there's like development like throughout it.
So I don't remember if you said it was in our pre-interview or if you said it this time around, but you said you pulled some Flash Gordon into this.
Yeah.
Okay, now I am a Flash Gordon fan.
Yeah.
Now, are you talking about the old 30s, 40s Flash Gordon, or are you talking about the 80s?
There's more 80s.
Sam J. Jones kind of Flash Gordon.
Yeah. Like I like how you guys in your montage, it was almost only like 80s movies. And that's like a lot of yeah. The 80s, like I was born in 90, but like 80s is still one of my favorite decades because I love the movies and stuff from that. I love like the cheese ball that like nature like some of the stories, and like that was like
look what's coming full circle now. Look what's coming full circle now. When you look on Netflix, you see Stranger Things. It's like
it's all the synth though. But I miss. I miss the DIY home crafted quality that the 80s movies had, though, that these movies have now lost. So everything's so 3D printed, mass produced, and perfect. Like I know with Darvey, we're trying to recreate that kind of where you see the seams of the film. You see where they just spray painted a blender silver to make it look like sci-fi.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Put a neon light somewhere. Yeah.
You can see it even like in the general tone too. Like the color palette is like very 80s with these kind of like neons and stuff like that. And like the main like Darvey title is very kind of like 80s-esque. And again, it kind of goes to like the overall like tone of the story and like the bizarreness of it.
Okay, I'm sure people out there are going to want to know. Here's another question. I'll go right to you, Connor. And this is just a comic book related question. Do you tend to like villains or superheroes?
I tend to like the villains better.
Okay.
Because I have a joke about it because Disney has ruined my life because they designed villains that look like me.
Don't you know?
So like because I've got the widow's peak, I've got the pointy nose, the slim face, and I look tired all the time. So I've always identified with the villain. I do like the heroes, but I like the heroes that have darkness. Like I've always been obsessed with Ghost Rider. I'm
anti-heroes.
I'm a sucker for the hero that's struggling to control like the rage demon.
Anti-heroes, yep.
But then also the villains are what carries the story. So
they have no rules.
Yeah.
and there's nothing better than a charismatic villain. Nothing better. Like.
So who's your favorite villain?
Yeah.
My favorite. Oh God, hold on. Let me see. Favorite villain.
That's the hard one.
I might have to come back to this.
Okay, how about you, Mike? Same questions.
Yeah, let me think about this.
Hero or villain?
It's kind of like what Connor said. I like the heroes that might be villains, and I like the villains that might be heroes. Where it's not fun if it's clear what they're going to be. So it's when their motivations are like in question or they're like flawed characters. Like that's what gets me. Like
you got
it's not really necessarily. It's the anti-hero is kind of the thing where they could be like a hero or villain depending on their like mood and what happens at the moment. Like that's the question. Like one of my favorite villains is still Magneto because of that. At times he's just like outright evil. At times he's good. At times he's like questioning himself. So
nice. You still thinking about it? I love it.
I think
See,
Judge
superhero-
Death might be my favorite villain.
Who?
Judge Death from the Dredd series.
oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know. I can't.
That's completely out of the box of anything I would have thought of. But
Me
all right.
too.
I just can't. I'm just thinking aesthetically. I'm trying. Again, so I'm pretty ADHD. So you ask me a question, and of course, every villain has
It's
left my brain.
okay.
Sound
like me.
Because
Squirrel.
I've been watching. I've been watching Kenobi lately. So I'm just like, is Darth Vader my favorite villain? He's all right. I don't know.
Yeah. Agreed.
It's
all right,
tricky.
Mike. I've got a question for you while Connor's trying to lock everything down.
You broke
brain.
me. Yeah.
Sorry.
We'll have a while.
Mike, if you were writing a story where Batman and Moon Knight had to fight, who would win?
Depends who the writer of that story is.
You.
Oh yeah, you said that already. True. That's part of the
ADHD Mike.
yeah. I think they both lose. There wouldn't be a winner. Some third element would get them to both fail in whatever they're trying to accomplish.
Okay, now that's a different take.
It is.
Write
That's
that,
actually-
and
I
there
like
you go.
that
You both sides win because they both lose.
Yeah.
answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Both,
that's
I don't
a good thought. Both fail. So,
Yeah, because everyone says they're like mirror images of the others, like the DC and Marvel version of whatever. And for that reason, like, why would there be a winner when like they're supposed to be kind of the same person? You know?
Well, if we're basing it off the TV show, Batman would kick the shit out of this current Moon Knight. But
you think so?
Yeah, but he
so?
can't die.
the Oscar Isaac one,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't too impressed.
You didn't like it?
I didn't like it for the reason I'm tired of the MCU, where like there was nothing unique about him being Moon Knight. His stuff was just very much all MCU, made by Tony Stark, except for look, his suit's kind of a mummy. But he fights the same as everyone else. Like there's a show called Warrior. Have you guys watched it? It's a Bruce Lee project that was unfinished from the 70s.
I think I know what you're talking about. I actually think I know what you're talking about.
Phenomenal show. It's only got 2 seasons. I think they're about to film a 3rd, but the fight choreography in that ruins every other fight scene you've ever seen, because they tell such good stories with the way these characters fight. And then you watch something like an MCU Moon Knight, and you're just like, they're not telling me anything. It's just that he throws a device at a guy, kills him, and then he dies, and then he's not dead. I don't know. I might just be.
There was a lot of backstory in Moon Knight.
Yeah, there is.
It was full of trying to explain the character and getting
A lot.
in there.
That's what was boring a lot of people. There was it was very heavy on the psychological platform.
Mm-hmm.
For Moon
I
like
Oscar Isaac though, so
I do too.
Oh, I thought he did.
He's great.
He did
Oh,
a phenomenal
excellent.
job.
Excellent.
It's fantastic. It's just bad storytelling happens around him.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I asked the last question. G, go ahead. Your turn. Ask a question. Connor, back to you.
No, we already did. We've been back and forth.
Is it Judge Death? Is that your
No,
favorite?
he's not. He can't be. I haven't talked about him in a minute. God, I don't know.
It's a cool-looking character.
Is Ghost Rider a villain? Because I do love him. I've always been obsessed with drawing him.
He's an anti-hero.
He's an anti-hero.
Yeah.
He's been a
I think
villain.
Marvel always has better villains than DC, I'd say. They're just more layered.
I do love the Green Goblin. That
That is a villain.
I'm gonna vote him.
That is
And
definitely a villain,
Willem Dafoe's version from Spider-Man 1 too. Just
Oh yeah.
He was good.
Very scary with or without the mask.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
William Dafoe is good. I like William Dafoe.
That movie came out of time in my
But
life.
yeah, Green Goblin is. I mean, he's like. Could you imagine like a carnageized goblin?
Mm-hmm.
That would be rough. I mean, I guess they kind of did that with. They kind of did that in Spider-Man with they did a Red Goblin, which was the carnageized version, but it didn't last long. But that was a.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I remember that.
I think that was like
that Dan Slott.
right at the end of Slott's run.
Yeah.
What am I talking about? Hold on, sorry. But my favorite villain has always been Mysterio. It's Mysterio.
Nice.
Oh, okay.
That's a good one.
I don't. It took me a minute. See, we had to move on before my brain could catch up.
Fishbowl head. Yeah.
Just yeah, because I have always loved the quality that character had, where he can be the idiot that Spider-Man punches on the way to meet the real villain,
Yeah.
or sometimes they give him real powers.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I love the character, and he's usually a joke, but then sometimes he's not.
Yep.
Right. And he always has one of the coolest costumes.
Yeah.
Always.
He does.
Yeah. The dome head and everything. Yeah, that is pretty awesome.
And I love Jake Gyllenhaal. He crushed it, so that was great. Yeah.
So, Mike and Connor, do you have any questions for us old men?
Probably
Oh,
not.
good.
Me and John. I'm not interested.
Yeah. What's your favorite run by a writer on a comic? What's
What made you love a character?
1990s Ghost Rider.
Yeah, Danny Ketch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's my Ghost Rider.
Yeah, that's back at the end of my high school, and that's when that one came out, and that one was terrific. Or the Todd McFarlane Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I love Todd McFarlane Spider-Man because he just breaks the anatomy and doesn't care.
So I mean, he drew him way different than anyone ever had before. The fights, Spider-Man getting pummeled. It was something
It's like
that you were
Superman
just
getting beat up in every issue.
He's like, I've never seen you
Front
take
cover.
so many beatings. I mean, and yeah, it was those two. That was, I was 17 or so when those came out, and those were the two big ones from that. I think in the same year. And yeah, they were both so phenomenal to read, and the storytelling was great, and it introduced Kingpin as not this big fat sloth, but as this monstrous,
Wall.
come at me. I'm training with ninjas. Come here. Yeah.
Yeah.
And those two were probably my favorite reads, except for the Cosmic Spider-Man run. So I'm on ADHD and I'm going to jump around because the Cosmic Spider-Man run, that is my favorite run.
Is that when he gets infected with the Phoenix Force?
That's when he gets the powers of Captain Universe.
Oh, okay.
And the Tri-Sentinel comes in, and yeah, he turns into Cosmic Spider-Man. It's the McFarlane, punch the Hulk into the atmosphere.
Yeah, I think
it jumped in all the Spider-Mans, and it was, that was probably my favorite complete run to read. So
nice.
And then you've got Secret Wars #1. So
Secret Wars was good. Was it like the Lionel Yu one? Yeah.
The original.
Oh
Secret
no,
Wars.
that was Secret Invasions.
Yep.
Yeah.
So.
When did the Ghost Rider story that Clayton Crane illustrated come out? The one where he's forced to race to the portal of hell every day until one day he finally gets out.
2000s.
That's what sold me on that character.
Yeah, I think that was like 2000, and that's within the last 20 years.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I'm only 30, so I got it.
Mine was Silver Surfer, age 12.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
I knew that.
Mine, that's total mine. My love. I just love that character.
I know. What does that say about you psychologically? Because he was trapped, right? He was trapped by Galactus. Yeah.
Well, it's like, when you look at the Shakespearean style of writing back then that they kind of wrote, because they were very heavily written when you read them. I actually came across Silver Surfer the first time in Fantastic Four. It was issue 5, I think, if I'm not mistaken. King Size Annual, and that's how I first came across him. On that cover, there's nothing about Silver Surfer except in green ink. I happened to be reading the Fantastic Four, and that was the first introduction. There's a whole introduction of him in there, and it was awesome. I was stuck ever since then.
He's a cool character.
Yeah, and anything modern, I'm always experimenting with modern stuff. I'm loving the Philadelphia. I like Rodney Barnes. I like vampires. I like horror titles. I always seem to lean toward them a lot. But yeah, that's me. Pretty simple.
But my favorite character, and I got to throw him out there, give him some love, is the Rocketeer.
The Rocketeer.
Oh, hands down, best character ever made. I can't tell you how many times I've drawn.
See,
that
Connor,
because-
now you're like one of my favorite artists. So.
See?
Dude, oh my god, yeah, thank you. God, dude, Dave Stevens changed my life because
Yeah, I've got a whole cabinet of Dave Stevens stuff right here. So just right off camera. So
because I grew up with the movie, like the cheesy Disney one, so I loved that already. And then I finally deep dove into the character. Like, are you excited for the Tuskegee Airmen reboot they're about to do? Have you heard about this?
I've heard about it.
Yeah, you said I'm gonna miss Cliff.
I'm on the fence.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, oh god, like there's nothing like just the jumpers, the helmet, the Mauser, every detail.
How much can they not screw it up? Is always my fear when you take a classic character and we're going to reboot it and change everything.
I know.
Yeah, I don't want you to change everything. I want you to give me the classic character.
Yeah. God, I love the Rocketeer. Yeah, I've always been on the fence about getting the jacket. Do you own a jacket?
I do not. I was gonna buy one of my I have 4 sons, but my third son,
that was cool.
He was the one I was going to get the jacket for, and I ended up getting him the jacket from X-Men, the Wolverine jacket.
Oh, nice. I've been on the fence for so long for that. I'm like, I don't know if I can pull off a double breast.
I can't because maybe I could 30 years ago. Now I don't think they make it in like 2X. So
you might. The industry might have grown. Yeah. Cliff Secor jackets.
Leather doesn't stretch. So yeah.
That one is dead. Yeah.
And it's too much to pay for something that might fit this year.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't you got we have like 5 minutes. Why don't you, Mike and Connor, tell the public about what you're doing, all that good stuff before we cut it down. We usually keep about an hour. So please tell the public what you're doing. Just to give them a rewind. The links are all down below, so I made sure all that stuff is there. So anybody's interested, please.
So we have our Kickstarter live for our debut graphic novel, Darvey Plunk. We've as we talked about at length, we're going for it. We're going for the political satire, but it's not going to be the heavy-fisted dour affair. I think that might have even been pulled straight from the campaign text. But like, we're being done with it. Like, I think it's fun. It'll engage you. You'll have fun, but it'll get you thinking again.
Mike,
and it's gonna be very entertaining.
Yeah, like we made it for people who like comics. Like we know, like like the entertainment value that like you get out of it, and like you want good art. You like the art itself should be selling this book, is what I'd say. But if you want something a little bit more, like it's just a fun story, and it like goes through a lot of like the classic kind of comic book kind of beats, like just far out there. It's stuff that you can't really create like in film without like a $500 million budget. Where we're taking these elements and like just getting a fun story that you can really only see in comic books. And we have a little, it touches on like reality a little bit, touches on like unreality or whatever you want to call it. And, there's a lot of elements to it that I think people will enjoy. And, we just really want to get this book made. We have like the first issue completely done, and we're hoping to hit this goal so that we can get this book into everyone's hands.
Seriously, good luck in the future and stay in touch with us, please. Any further things you need any help, I'll recast this for next Sunday on Father's Day, so people will see this same video that we just did today.
Amazing, yeah. And thanks for having us, guys. It was
absolutely.
Even
stick
when
around, don't go anywhere now when we get off air here. Stick around for a few minutes.
All right.
Okay. All right. Anything else? We're good, John.
You're helping me become a full-time artist if you help the book. So
there you go.
There we go.
All right.
Yeah. All right. So, thank you, Connor, and thank you, Mike, for joining us here on the Generation X Men. We really appreciate you guys stopping by. We are, of course, always trying to find artists that we can spotlight on here and help out. And we just kind of do this for fun. This is what G and I kind of do. We met a couple years back and just have been having a good time with it. So
it is fun.
Once we got this going.
Hey, we got it. No, we got it. We're good.
It took us a while, but we got this going,
hey, we both have lives, and families. That's what happens. Sorry.
But yeah, I do have Heroes Con in a couple weeks, so yeah, we'll be off next week, and then but the next Sunday I will be back in time for this show. So
Cool. Good.
so we will have that, and I'm going to try to talk to some artists while we're down there, see if I can get us some more that can come on.
That'd be awesome.
So we've still got to have Clara back on for Mother
Yes, we do.
47,
Definitely.
and then we are still working with Sarah Frazetta to try to get her on here as well. So
yes, that would be fantastic.
I'll work on that. But do hop over and jump on Kickstarter. If Darvey Plunk has
wet your whistle, a good
enough
turn.
to want to dive in, I was on the fence coming into it, but I'm actually going to go over and grab a copy. I think it's going to be a pretty fun ride. So I'm going to go check it out. So I hope you'll join us and check it out as well.
Awesome. See you, buddy. And happy Father's Day. If we don't get to say it now, happy Father's Day.
All right.
Next Sunday.
Happy Father's Day to me.
Peace.